It's a provincial final rematch from last year here on High Button Sports. My name is Dayton Camo, welcoming you inside the Kings Mutual Century Center, better known as the Apple Dome here in Berwick, Nova Scotia, for a U15 major matchup between the WearWell Bombers and the Valley Wildcats. Referees gathering at center. We're almost set to go. Owen Little and Hunter Martin working in on the draw. Draw won by Little. Back to his brother Elijah, who picks this one up. And it's down the other one. Picked up by Cormier. He works this one offside. An early face-off at the line. Face-off one by the Wildcats. Back to McKay. To Greeno. Greeno fires this one up through a couple of bodies. Now a battle at center ice for it. Little throws that one up the wall. It's picked off by Greeno and he sends it in. Cormier sends this one up the wall. Cross ice. Now on the half wall, picked up that shot over the net. Picked up in the defensive zone. But Ross able to keep it in for the Bombers. Up the wall, this one gets to the line. Poked at by Gallant, he gets bumped at the line. There's Lonergan. To Fowler, back to McLaughlin. Missed pass at the Wildcats bench. A quick shot saved by Innes. Another quick shot fought away by Innes. Innes, the lone goalie here today for the Wildcats. Back to the point, shot by Grace gets blocked. Now Tommy Ferguson picks this one up. Ferguson gonna turn on the Jets. He runs into McIntosh and he sends him to the ice there. Big hit from Tommy Ferguson. McLaughlin has a puck chipped by him. Now the Bombers have to retreat and regroup here defensively, but Caleb Howard able to pinch it off. Now Tommy Ferguson sends a shot off the glass. Picked up by Howard. He takes a bump from McDaniel. Now back go the Bombers, trying to break out. Breakout pass picked off by Howard again. It's sent back in. And Gillis able to retreat and reset for the Bombers, but the Wildcats breaking in. A chance in tight. That one's just put wide of the net. Now Bowden on Greeno. Greeno up to McGuire. He sends this one into the zone. Picked up by Robichaud. He works in as this one fought away from him. Now on the half wall. This one shipped from Bowden all the way to Frazier at center, but he gets it redirected and sent back in on Gillis. Back up to Bowden at neutral ice. And now back come the Wildcats. Rude flips a backhander in deep. Gillis turns it aside for Cormier. Now Cormier racing up. He's got speed. Taken away by Gallant. And now Gallant's got to race after it. Now Anderson starts the breakout to Cohen Little. Little rubbed out along the wall there. And now it's in front, turned aside by Innes. Brought out by Martin, the skipper. He gets dumped. Back to Matatal. Matatal sends one up. Chip to Cohen Little. That one's chipped past him. Good play by Ferguson. Now Grace works his way into the zone. Elijah Little spilled at the line, and now the Wildcats electing for a breakout. Tommy Ferguson chips it in. He's going to put a bump down there on Little in the corner. And now Howard picks it up, sends it back to the defense. That's Diebel. Diebel up the glass. Now Elijah Little electing to run into Caleb Howard, unaware of how solid he is. Howard runs into his man down in the corner. Now a shot out front. Howard drops it for McLaughlin. McLaughlin down into the corner, picked up by Little, sent across. Grace out to center. Now Diebel up the wall, sent in deep. Little gets bumped by McLaughlin hard, and he's down. Seems to be grabbing his back collarbone area. It was a pretty hard hit. He is getting up on his own. As the trainers come out to see to him. And Elijah Little able to get up under his own. So with 9:49 to go, we'll get a face-off here to the right of Gillis. Ferguson and McDonald on the draw. Draw one back into the corner. Now Grace picks it up for the Bombers. Grace, breakout pass down the ice. This one's called off by the linesman. Now out to the slot area. Ferguson had it chipped off his stick, and now a battle at the blue line. Finally kept in by Grace. He'll poke it in, and now it's back out to the Bomber zone. Ross. Cross ice to Grace. Howard comes in there to negate that entry. And now it's back out to neutral ice. Ross, cross ice. Greeno was chipping up. And now a shot in. That one just goes wide. Good shot from McIntosh. This one gets chipped out. Picked back up at the line. McGuire giving chase. He knocks that one off the stick of Whitmore. Now Whitmore picks it back up. He's battling down there with Howard. Howard gives him a chop. Whitmore works in. Shot wide. Innes fights it off. Now Robichaux in the corner. It's sent down the ice. Linesman has his hand up. It will be an icing call on the play. 8:14 left to go in the first frame. Here from the Apple Dome. Thank you for tuning in to High Mountain Sports. Hope you're staying dry and warm on this gray and rainy November Saturday. Little, Robichaux on the draw. Draw one by Little across. Back to the point. Matatall can't keep that one in. He's given pressure there from Caleb Howard. Now Greeno up the wall. McGuire chips that one, but it's kept in by the Bombers. Now Robichaux. Battling down there is stick tied up with Swain. Now Cormier. Good little escape turn. Back up quickly to Anderson. Drop to Little. Little shot saved by Innes. Now a rebound in front. Scrambled. And Innes able to keep that puck out of the net. Shots 5-0 up on the scoreboard. Wildcats unable to put some rubber on net and test Gillis. Meanwhile, Innes turning aside 5 so far. Forwards working in on the far side off the draw a little too early. And that draw went back to Matatall across to Cormier. Cormier working in with a penalty coming. Shot by Cormier, saved by Innes. And the Wildcats will be going to the penalty kill. That'll be Victor Barto-Kelly off the box for 2 or less. So face off down to the left of Tatum Innes. Back to Cormier at the point. Ross to Cormier. Has this one chipped away, and Caleb Howard is on a break, short-handed. Howard turned aside by Gillis. That's exactly why number 17 in red is out there, short-handed on the penalty kill. Caleb Howard, all the speed in the world. But the Bombers come away on the power play, breaking in. McDonald to Little. To Grace, shot off the post. Back down to Grace. Little at the point, working in. His shot scores! Cohen Little rips one blocker side on the power play, and the Bombers have the lead. Now Grace intercepts this pass, but it's offside at the line. So we'll get a face-off right outside the Wildcats zone after that power play goal from Cohen Little. Little back on the draw against Tommy Ferguson. Little wins that one back. Now it's sent into the zone. Trip Greeno picks this one up. Escape turn down there, passes it back across to McKay, and McKay sends it back to Greeno. Greeno up the wall. Chipped out by Ferguson, but it's back. Picked up by Grace. Grace up to Anderson, now Little. Good puck movement by the Bombers, able to quickly enter the zone. Now Ferguson's pass. Elected there for McLaughlin. Picked off, and now a quick pass away, almost good little chip pass from Anderson to Cohen Little. But now Rude backhands one in. Now the Bombers deep play. Pitch and catch. It's turned aside by Lonergan. Here goes Lonergan all alone. Turned aside by Gillis. Now a rebound in front. Gillis has the best of that one as well. A breakaway stop and a rebound as well. Gillis standing up to the task. 5:29 to go here in the first period. Bombers with the 1-0 lead thanks to Cohen Little on the power play. Back to the point. This one's turned aside. Now it's Keating. He tried to cross-seam pass. Martin's shot turned aside also by Gillis. Now the Bombers able to break out to center. McDonald has it chipped away from him. Now Whitmore sends it up to McIntosh, taken away there. And in comes Robichaud. Robichaud rips a shot, turned aside by Gillis. Now this one's turned back into the Bomber zone. Whitmore sends a long pass up. Rude sends it back. And now a pass elected for McGuire out of his reach, and a pass the other way from the Bombers will go the length and will come 200 feet back the other way. For a face-off to the right of Gillis. 4:33 left to go here in the first. McDonald and Ferguson on the draw. Tied up off the draw. McDonald sends it cross ice, but it's turned aside by Rude and sent back in. Up the wall, McKay pinches in, gets past him, and Greeno will have to go all the way back. Greeno up the wall to McKay. McKay to Ferguson. Now Ferguson lays a big hit down there in the corner on Matatall. Ferguson working out. McKay has it at the point. Turned aside by the block from Bowden. Now he works in. Great defensive play by McGuire, laying out with the stick. Now back the other way. Ben Rude. Neutral ice. He gets run into. Knocked off the puck by Matatall. Now it's back up for Bowden. Bowden 1-on-4, trying to work through the middle. And now it's finally Fowler who picks it up. McLaughlin on the wall. Help from Ferguson with that bump. But Cormier picks up the loose puck, turned aside by Ennis from the point shot. Now Grace. Good move on Rude at the line. Now it's put to the open ice. McLaughlin picks it up there for the Wildcats, sends it back around the net. Keating unable to softly corral that one, and now it's picked up by Little behind the net. Going Little, works out front. Now back behind the net. Tried to send one back to Cormier. Now it's picked up in the skates of Howard. He couldn't pick that one up. Now Anderson drops it. It's picked up by the Wildcats. Away goes McLaughlin. He sends it in. Now it's up the wall. Turned aside by Martin. The Wildcats captain has a chance down low. He's got a man out front. That's Howard. Now Gallant works in as well. Howard, shot saved by Gillis. And once again, Gillis up to the task. He's had 2 breakaways and a point-blank shot right there from Caleb Howard, able to turn it aside. Martin wins that draw. It's back to McKay at the point. He sends it cross ice to Greeno. Shot turned aside by Gillis. Now Martin circling, drops for Greeno. Greeno puts it back down deep. Lonergan down in the corner, but it's picked up by the other 14. That's Whitmore. Now Greeno down deep in his own end. Sends a pass out to neutral ice. It's picked up by Ross and sent cross ice to Whitmore. Whitmore up to center. And now McIntosh runs into Greeno and almost gives him a spill, but it's up to neutral ice now to Martin. Hunter Martin makes a move to the line, can't get in, and now McIntosh sends one cross ice. In goes McDonald. Tries to make a move on Greeno. It's no good. And McKay able to reset for the Wildcats, but his pass out of the reach. It's back to Little. Good to see Elijah Little back out here after taking that bump down in the corner earlier this period. A shot from Ferguson sent in to Gillis. He elects to play that for Cormier. Cormier up the wall, makes it to the red line. He's got space. He's going to work in. Stop. Play one to center. It's picked up by the Wildcats. Kept in there by the skate of Bowden. Bowden shot, toe saved by Innes, and another great save by Innes. Now Cormier back up the wall to Bowden. Bowden knocks this one deep. Innes leaves it there for Keating. Keating around the wall. McGuire unable to get to that one. Picked up by Grace. Grace spills McGuire. And now Bowden. Down there in the corner battling with McKay. kept in at the line. And now McKay with 20 seconds, giving the Wildcats one last rush up the ice. Now Ferguson trying to work his way in, taken away by Cohen Little, the goal scorer. This one's chipped off the glass. Little and McLaughlin battling away. Howard working in. He's got a couple seconds. And that'll do it here in the first frame. A 1-0 lead for the WearWell Bombers over the Valley Wildcats thanks to a power play goal from Cohen Little. We'll be right back momentarily with the second period of play. We're back on High Button Sports with the second period of play here from the Apple Dome. The WearWell Bombers lead the Valley Wildcats 1-0. McKay takes a bump down there from Little. Now Greeno trying to work it out. Now it's to center. They finally past the Wildcats' blue line. And now Ferguson picks it up. Trying to work his way through a couple of bodies there in the defensive zone for the Bombers. And now it's work to the line. Bombers out to neutral ice. That's Little. He gets bumped by Trip Greeno. Now Anderson picks it up. Puts it back behind the net. Greeno up the wall to McLaughlin. He's bumped there by Anderson. Greeno coming in to help out. Sent back to Greeno behind the net. He's going to work his way up to McLaughlin. And that pass centered in front. Tried to hit Howard, but Howard on the backhand couldn't get enough of it. Now this one's chipped up. Howard kicks this one into the Bombers bench. And we'll get a stoppage of play here with 18:35 left to go in the second frame. Shots all even at 9 after the Bombers took a 5-0 lead in the shot department to start this one. The Wildcats able to work themselves back into it. And we've got a good one here at the Apple Dome. Gallant works this one in to the offensive zone, but it's taken away by McIntosh. Pass sent ahead, picked up by Innes as he sends it off the glass. Now Martin has this one chipped away from him. Picked back up at the line by McDonald. Works his way in, sends a pass back to the point. Cormier shot through, blocker saved by Innes. Now Martin behind the net, pass out to center to Gallant. Gallant, wrong side of the red line, but linesman says no. Gallant works on it, and Lonergan spins and shoots, but it's fanned on. And now all the way back to Keating. He sends one through, tipped, linesman says no ice, and now Matitzal. Back for the Bombers to Cormier. Cormier works through center. He has time. Works his way in. That one just goes wide of the net. Now Cormier working in, finds a man alone in front. This one just goes wide as well. Couple of great chances here for the Bombers, but away go the Wildcats, 3-on-1. That's McGuire. He's got a man going to the net. That was Robichaud, but a great defensive play by Cormier working back. Now Keating works his man Bowden off the puck, and now it's up to Ben Rude. To McGuire, chipped off his stick, and Keating sends it in. Now Robichaud sends it deep into the Bombers' end, picked up by Whitmore. Whitmore to center. Can't get a stick on that. And this will come all the way back down to the Bombers' end. 16:27 left to go in the second period. The Bombers now leading in the shots department, 10-9. Now it's back to the point. McKay to Greeno. Greeno up to Howard. He's away on a breakaway. Howard works in. Turned aside by Sean Gillis once again. Now back to the point. McKay into the corner. For Howard, he works in there with Grace, and it's sent along the ice around the glass. And this one will make its way down for an icing. So we're going to face off back down to the right of Sean Gillis. Lonergan working in on the draw against Little. Draw one by Little, back around the wall. Grace chips at that one. Gets to the line. Little evades the hit there from Martin, but it's worked in offside by the Bombers. And we're going to face off right outside the Wildcats' blue line. Only 2 points separating these two teams in the standings. The Bombers in a two-way tie for fourth place, and the Wildcats in sole possession of that fifth place spot here in the High Button Nova Scotia U15 Major League. The Bombers with 12 points and the Wildcats with 10. So this game could even things up here in the standings if the Wildcats were able to get themselves back in this one. Now a big hit down there from Connor Keating as Grace tried to work in. Now it's picked out front. A shot turned aside by Innes. Now a couple of bodies working in down there. Gallant has it taken away from him. Little working around behind the net. Little tried to go off the glass to Gracie, but this one goes all the way down the ice. Ross picks it up. Long headman pass to Swain. Little working in, tried to make a move there, and he spills Keating in the corner. No call. Now Bartow Kelly to Keating, up to Robichaud. And a four-pass breakout gets the Wildcats out to neutral ice. Picked up by Bartow Kelly as two men spilled there at center. Now Cormier had a man that was swaying long across the neutral zone, elected to go up the near side and chip it in. Now the Wildcats send it back out to neutral ice. Cormier almost bobbled that one. And now Rude, he's got one to beat. Can't get by his man, and now it's taken away back out to neutral ice. McDonald works in, goes between the legs on Bartow Kelly. Cross ice, they score. McIntosh takes the feed from McDonald. And the Bombers have doubled up. Now Greeno chips his puck down in to the Bomber zone off the draw. Ferguson and McLaughlin in there. Ferguson works out, pass in front, turned aside. And that was a great chance there for the Wildcats, unable to make anything of it, but Caleb Howard now working in. He's got the puck down low behind the net, tries to go out front to Ferguson. That pass just taken away. Now back out. McDaniel fighting down there in the corner with Ferguson. Now Greeno sends a shot in, blocked, on its way to the net. Now Howard tries to center one, gets caught up by a stick. Now McDonald resets for the Bombers, sends one cross ice into the neutral zone. That's the goal scorer, McIntosh, sending one in for Ennis. He stops up. Now Howard sends one in. Gallant giving chase, no icing called. Grace picks it up. Grace takes a big hit from Tommy Ferguson. Pass out front, goes through the legs of Lonergan. Now it's worked in. Frazier worked in off the puck. Now Gallant picks it up for the Wildcats. He's met there from Frazier. Lonergan chips it out to center. Bombers go D to D. That one almost taken away from Lonergan. He had a good chance there, but Ross able to move it up the ice. Now McKay drops it there for Trip Greeno. Greeno spins off the check to center. Now Gallant working in. Makes a move. His shot turned aside by Gillis. Lonergan pinches in and takes that one back off the stick, but Cormier able to regroup for the Bombers once more. Cormier works it back up the wall. It's in the feet. And now Martin able to put it back down deep. Martin gives chase on Matatal. Matatal takes a tumble behind the net. No one in front for the Wildcats, in the pass from Martin doesn't get through. Now Rude in the corner. This one picked up by Bowden. And he goes to center. Taken away by Fowler. And now Keating back up the glass and up the wall. Matatal in front. Shot turned aside by Sean Gillis once again. Turned aside all 15 pucks that have came his way so far. And now Fowler regroups back up the wall. And McGuire can't get that one, but now he intercepts the pass from Matatal, works in offside, and we'll get a whistle here with 10-12 left to go in the second period. 15-11, the shots on net in favor of the Valley Wildcats. But the boys from Pictou County, the WearWell Bombers, with the 2-0 lead. And now a chance all alone. This one over the net. And now a rebound. It just goes wide of the post. Back to the point. This one under the reach of Grace. He'll have to turn on the Jets coming back as he's got McLaughlin all over him. That one just gets out of the reach, out of the zone, and Bartow Kelly can't pick that one up. Now Ferguson rubbed off the puck, picked up by Howard, sent to neutral ice, turned over, and now Grace walks in. That shot doesn't make its way to the net. Ferguson has Howard all alone, but Ferguson, now he hits Howard. Howard's shot turned in, but it's over the net. Now McLaughlin fires one wide from the point. Sent back down in, and Grace will pick it up for the Bombers. He's met there behind the net by Howard. Now Ferguson tried to make his way in past a couple of Bombers, and now it's off the wall. Little working in, and a penalty called. It looks like we'll get some coincidentals as Grace and Ferguson heading off. Face-off will come back out to the Wildcats blue line. Face-off won by the Bombers. Now McDonald and Greeno working for it. It's won by Greeno. Now Gallant has a man working in. He tries to saucer one to Lonergan. Lonergan's shot goes over the net. Now Greeno back to the point. That one's tipped in front. Gillis able to find that, corral it in. And we'll get a face-off back down here to the left of Sean Gillis. McDonald and Martin on the draw. Draw one by Martin to the half wall. He keeps it in, but now it's McDonald working down for the Bombers to Cormier. Tries to go back cross ice. This one just goes wide of the net. Cormier working back to the point as McIntosh. He falls, able to keep control of that one. Now it's sent around the ice. Cormier able to keep it in, but Gallant has a man going through. That was Lonergan through neutral ice. He makes his way to the net, but Sean Gillis able to cover up. 8:02 on the clock here in the second period. And the Wildcats still leading in the shot department, 6-12, but the Bombers have the best of the quality opportunities. And they lead this one 2-0. Now Fowler fans on this one. And Bowden has a chance away. His shot scores. Bowden works his way in off the draw. Chipped off the boards and fired it far side. And the Bombers are up by 3. Now it's chipped back down in. Tatum Innes able to cover that one up. So the Valley Wildcats now have some work to do if they want to be able to catch the WearWell Bombers in the standings. This face-off won by the Wildcats. Hunter Martin picks it up. Chipped to the wall. Lonergan was tied up. Now Bartow Kelly takes a tumble on the way to the puck. He runs into Bowden, the goal scorer. Now it's Martin to Lonergan. Up the wall, it's in the feet. Martin picks it up. He's bumped there at the wall by Bowden. And there goes Ross. He sends one in. That one's onside. Innes stops it up. Bartow Kelly sends one down deep, turned aside by the pad of Innes into the corner. Ross picks it up for the Bombers. Now Howard runs into Whitmore down low. Howard trying to find a man out front. That was Robichaud ready to unload with the one-timer. Now Bartow Kelly sends one in the feet of Robichaud, and Gillis turns it aside once again. He's turned aside all 19 shots And now Robichaud works in against Little on the face-off. It's one ahead by Little. Now Anderson sends one in. Innes backhands this one around to Bartow Kelly. Or McLaughlin, excuse me. Now it's picked up at the line. A slap shot goes through. This one's wide of the net. Almost fooled Innes. Now McKay sends a backhander down around the wall. McLaughlin sends it back down to McKay. Now Greeno. Off the glass. Howard unable to get a stick on that one. Now Anderson working in with Little. Anderson with a pass. That one kept in at the point by Matatall. Now Anderson tries to find a man at the point. That's Matatall. His shot going in. Turned aside by Innes. And a glove save will give us a face-off down here in the Wildcats zone. 19-15, the shot's on net, but a 3-0 lead for the WearWell Bombers in this 2025 Nova Scotia U15 provincial rematch. These two teams meeting in the finals last year. Now this one's sent to the net. Innes able to fight it off with the glove. Now back to the point. Grace, his shot turned aside by Innes once again. And we've got a penalty. McIntosh will be going to the net. Or to the box. A slash. And this will send the face-off 200 feet to the Bombers zone. We'll get the first Wildcats power play of the game. The Bombers' first goal coming on the power play from Cohen Little. We'll see if the Wildcats can return the favor. As Ben Rude makes his way off the ice, he's going down to the dressing room. Lonergan, Ferguson, Martin, Greeno, and McKay out there for the Wildcats on this man advantage. McKay tries to go cross ice. It's picked off. And now back to Martin. To Greeno. Sends a shot through. Scores! Trip Greeno on the power play. Right from the point. Pretty similar goal from the Bombers' power play goal earlier in the first period. Shot screened from the point, and it goes in, getting the Wildcats on the board. Now a chance back for the Wildcats. Greeno again from the point. This one blocked in front. Bowden swipes at that one. Kept in by Martin. Now Greeno gives a bump down there to Cormier. Now it's out to neutral ice. There's Fraser. Drops to Reed. Reed shot. This one just goes over the net. Now the Wildcats looking to break away. It's Hunter Martin. Tries to chip to Ferguson. Ferguson chips it over the shoulder of Cormier and in. It's called offside on the play. And we're going to face off at the Bomber line with 4:43 to go. Robichaud and Little on the draw. Tied up off the draw. Robichaud wins it to the half wall. And now McLaughlin working in. Robichaud rubs out his man behind the net, but the Bombers able to chip one to neutral ice. Keating turns it back up the wall. Little picks it up. Now a chance in front. Turned aside by Innes. Anderson was all alone in front. Went forehand, backhand, and Tatum Innes able to keep that one out, and the Wildcats maintain the 2-goal deficit. That one would have been crucial, putting the Bombers up 3 going into the third. Martin and Little on the draw. Sent around the net. Picked up by Grace. Sent to the middle. That one elected for Anderson, and he gets bumped off the puck. Now Little back to the point to Grace. He sends a shot through, turned aside. This one goes wide off the rebound. Now it's into the corner. Grace able to pick it up and send it back to the point. Little sends it back down the half wall. And now Grace sends one around the net. It's off the glass, and Cormier will corral it at neutral. It's sent back in. Now Little works into the slot off the post. Now a rebound, they score. Spencer Anderson on the doorstep, and the Bombers increase their lead to 3. It's 4-1. .325 left to go here in the second frame. The Bombers just increasing their lead to 3 goals. Now this shot from Ferguson long out gets corralled by the glove of Gillis, kept in at the line, but now it makes its way out. Bombers working in an odd man rush. That shot turned aside by Innes, goes through the legs, unable to corral it. It does make its way into the net, but the whistle blown before. So we're going to face off to the left of Tatum Innes. Ferguson wins that draw ahead for Robichaux. Robichaux sends one over the glass. And that'll bring us all the way back to the Wildcats blue line. 2:55 to go. Face-off won by the Wildcats. It's brought in, and Ferguson trying to work his way in. He's met down there in the corner. It's picked up by Cormier off the wall. Now McDonald to Cormier. This one goes through a couple of feet. Down there in the slot. Kept in by the Bombers. Sent back to the point. Now Little. It's McDonald. McDonald, his shot goes wide. And McDonald picks up the puck at the point, sends one down to Cormier. Cormier spins off that check there from Ferguson. He's got a chance in front for a backhander. Works in front, turned aside by Innes. Cormier dents his way all the way in from the half wall. But Tatum Innes able to turn away the shot and the rebound and keep this a 4-1 game. Face-off won by the Wildcats. It's sent around the wall. McLaughlin going to send one over to Howard. He falls, but he's able to send it in. Now it gets to the line. Bombers working their way out. It's Frazier. Now Martin works it to McLaughlin. McLaughlin's got one man to beat, but Grace able to hold him wide. McLaughlin down into the corner to Martin. Martin stripped of that one, and now it's out to Reed. To Bowden. Bowden, he gets bumped but chips it in. Grace picks it up on the half wall, and he gets dumped by Connor Keating. Now a face-off will come of that. Big hit down there in deep from Connor Keating. He gets some taps on the back from the boys. Now the two captains working in off the draw, Martin and Little. Little wins it back to the point. To the half wall. In front, Anderson tried to line one up on the one-timer. Now a shot coming in. Doesn't make its way to the net. Little. Down in deep. Picked up by Martin. He's got speed taken away by a stick lift. And now Howard will send this one deep. McLaughlin racing in with 45 to go. Now Anderson works this one in. Tries to go cross-ice to Little. This one just taken away by McLaughlin. And now Howard has a chance to work his way in. Howard tried to hit the man in the slot working in. That was McLaughlin, but it was taken away, and now the Bombers back out to neutral ice. Greeno up the wall. Ferguson taken away from him. Off the glass. Ferguson waits for the onside, and now it's sent in. 8 to go. Whitmore sends it around the wall to Anderson, who chips it high and wide. That'll do it. Through 2 periods of play here at the Apple Dome, the WearWell Bombers lead the Valley Wildcats 4-1. Thank you for tuning in to High Button Sports. We'll be back with the 3rd period of action right after this.
Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cast. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cast. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cast. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cast. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cast. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross and Sons, scrap metal made simple.
back on High Button Sports for the third period of play between the WearWell Bombers and the Valley Wildcats. The Bombers lead the Cats 4-1 through 2 periods of play. Both skippers working in on the draw. It's Little and Martin. Martin wins this draw back. Picked up by Trip Greeno. Now this one's sent back in to the Bombers zone by Martin. Martin on the chase. He gives a bump down there to Cormier. Now Martin back below the goal line. This one's picked up by Little. Chip to the line, not out. Now Lonergan gives chase. And now it's turned aside at the line. Gallant working in. His shot scores! What a start to the third period for the Valley Wildcats. Jesse Gallant rips one over the shoulder of Sean Gillis. And we've got a 4-2 hockey game. Ferguson passes one over to Gallant. Or Howard, excuse me, and Howard's shot turned aside by Gillis. 19:08 to go here in the third period after the tying goal from Jesse Gallant just moments ago. The Bombers' parents quite sure that it was offside, but we move on with a 4-2 hockey game. Face off to the right of Sean Gillis. Tommy Ferguson working in on the draw, but now he's kicked out, and it'll be McLaughlin. He wins that one. Now Ferguson's shot turned aside by Gillis one more time. And we'll redo that face-off with 19:04 to go. Ferguson. And now this time McDonald's kicked out. McIntosh will come in to take it. He'll win this one to the wall. Back around for Grace. Up the wall, and now it's through to center. A pass intended for McIntosh will be sent in. Now back to the point. McIntosh tumbled down there in the corner. Cross ice to Grace. Grace shot. And that's turned aside by Innes. As the Bombers knock that puck across the goal line after the whistle. So a quick start here in the third period for the Valley Wildcats. Down 3. Jesse Gallant rips one over the shoulder of Sean Gillis. It's got the lead to 2. And now 18 minutes and 40 seconds for the Valley Wildcats to even this thing out. Or else the WearWell Bombers will take another 2-point jump and sit 4 points up on the Wildcats in the standings. Now this puck's picked up behind the net. Bartow Kelly up the wall. This one's to center ice, just gets past the line, and now back for Elijah Little. Gets that puck taken away from him. Back down in the corner. Little puts a hit down there on Robichaud. Now Cormier looking for a breakout pass. This one's chipped. Linesman says no icing. McLaughlin puts this one around the wall, and Frazier tries to knock it back in. Doesn't get far as Robichaud picks it up at the ringette line. Now it's up the wall to Hunter Martin. Martin trying to work in. He gets pinched off along the wall. Now Bowden will skate to neutral ice, but that's as far as he'll get as Martin walks in. His shot doesn't get through. Makes its way just to the side, and then a chance for Lonergan. Couldn't get enough wood on it. Now in front to Turned aside again, a penalty coming. Not sure who the referee signaled to, but it will be a head contact penalty coming, and it will be McDaniel. So McDaniel for head contact, only a 2-minute minor. Now McKay at the point. His pass intended for Greeno was taken away by Anderson. And now they'll have to come all the way back down and start from 200 feet from the offensive zone. Worked in by Greeno, back to the point to McKay. Greeno has this one chipped away from him, and Cohen Little's working in. And Greeno able to stop that one. Pushes it back up to Lonergan. Lonergan chipped off the puck. And now it's to center. Tommy Ferguson gonna corral it, gain some speed. Ferguson up the wall, chips it past his man, but it's sent back down in. I should say to Minnis. Stops it up there for McKay. McKay, cross ice. Robichaud gets the return feed. Working in. Robichaud shot turned aside by Gillis. Now Cormier with time sends one deep. And Innes will use it there for Fowler. Fowler with 50 to go here in the power play to Robichaud. Robichaud off the wall. Now McLaughlin working in, back to the point. This one's taken away by McDonald, and now McDonald's in alone. He's hauled down. And now some extracurriculars down in the corner. So a hooking call coming to Connor Keating. And the Bombers will head back to the man advantage. Robichaud, Ferguson, Fowler, and Bartow Kelly out there for the Wildcats. My apologies, it will not be shorthanded. It's 4-on-4. Now Little rips one right to the top corner. And Cohen Little picks up his second goal of the game. And the Bombers lead 5-2. Now this one's sent into the zone. Picked up by McKay. Still 4-on-4. Now Cormier picks it up behind the net. He's got speed. He's going to make his way down the ice to red line. Now into the offensive zone. Cormier couldn't make his way to the net. Turned aside there by Ferguson. And now McKay will pick it up. Martin tries to find Ferguson, but that pass taken away. McDonald sends it back down to Cormier. Cormier spins and back up the ice he goes. Cormier to the blue line. Ringette line stops up, and Little drops for Matatall. Now Matatall backhands that one down deep. Tied up in the corner now. Little gets back to Cormier to Matatall. Matatall. Shot comes in, turned aside by the blocker of Innes. And it's knocked down the ice. Will it have enough for icing? No, as Gillis comes out to stop it. Now this one's sent in on net. Gillis stops this one up. He'll cover up and play it safe with McLaughlin in on him. 14-17 left to go here in the final frame. A 5-2 lead for the WearWell Bombers over the Valley Wildcats, and the Wildcats still shorthanded. 20 seconds left on the on the penalty to Connor Keating. Now Anderson works his way through center. He's going to make a move at the line. Just evades the hit. Now Grace drops back for Anderson. Anderson to Whitmore. His shot blocked in front. McLaughlin and Whitmore run into each other down there in the corner as Anderson corrals at the blue line. Anderson couldn't get it past Caleb Howard. And now Howard sends it down the ice. Now Grace run into there by McLaughlin. But a quick chance in front for the Bombers. That one's turned aside. A point-blank save there from Tatum Innes on Anderson, denying him of his second of the game. Now it's back to the point. Grace, quick pass up to McIntosh. McIntosh drops. Shot comes in. That's over the net. Now Grace makes another move at the point. This one turned aside by Innes. 13-14 to go here in the third period. 28-23 the shots in favor of the Bombers. Draw one back by the Bombers, gets to the point, just gets across the line. Now Elijah Little trying to work it across the Wildcats' blue line. But McKay picks it back up, sends it to center. Now Greeno with a long pass intended for Lonergan, but it's picked off by Bowden. He's already got one this game. That's back to the line. Elijah Little sends it deep. And now Greeno runs into his own man along the wall, can't get out. And now it's finally poked back into neutral ice and sent right back in by Grace. The Wildcats intending for a breakout here. This pass gets to center, and Lonergan just able to work it past the line as Ferguson picks it up. Backhands this one in, just gets to Bowden, and he'll send it back up. Elijah Little, or Cohen Little, excuse me. Back down into the corner. He gets ridden off the puck by Ferguson, now Gallant. Chipped away there, and now Fowler collects the regroup. And now Ferguson working in, he's got time, and he fires that one off the glass. It'll go all the way down as Anderson intends to beat out the icing. He does. Anderson back to the point to Grace. Grace works past a couple of men, but the drop pass for Anderson just gets cleared down the ice. It will go the length of the ice for the icing. And we'll get a face-off back down in the Wildcats' end. 11:20 to go. And now this one picked up by Diebel. He works in. Shot turned aside by Gillis. Now it's Martin at the half wall. Tries to chip this one back. He gets the return feed. Now it's into the corner. Little. It's Anderson. He's got one to beat, but Diebel able to corral that puck. And now Ross sends it across to Whitmore. Whitmore off the glass. Kept in at the line by Bart O'Kelly, and now Martin works in down low in the corner. He's going to try and send one on net. Rebound, shot turned aside by Gillis. Now the face-off back down to the left of Sean Gillis. 10:23 to go in this one. Shot comes in from Howard. Now the rebound pounced on by Gillis. We'll redo this draw. Martin and McDonald on the draw. McDonald wins it back into the corner. Matitol. They'll leave it there for Cormier as Cormier's pressured by a couple of Wildcats. Now Cormier starts to break out. He's looking for an option. They'll spin back and throw a long pass up at a neutral ice. Picked up by McDonald. He's going to work in. It's poked away by Caleb Howard. And now Martin works in. McLaughlin's shot turned aside by the blocker. And now Cormier runs Martin into the wall, and this will get cleared back out to center as Greeno sends one in. Now Cormier, he's going to get the return feed and make his way down the ice, but he's offside at the line, and we're going to face off. 9:25 to go. The breakout pass there is elected for Ferguson. He chips it down to Lonergan, and Lonergan has to give chase in the corner. He's battling down there with Elijah Little. Now Robichaud, he's bumped down there by Little. Shot for Ferguson comes out. This one's over the net, off the stick, deflected. And now Grace works one to the point. Bowden chips that one out. Now it's sent right back in. Grace will have to come back and regroup. Now Grace working up with it. Gets the line. Tries to work into the Wildcat zone as he runs over the defenseman down there. That was Connor Keating. And now this one gets to the net. Innes turns it aside once more. And with 8:26 to go, we'll get a face-off down to the right of Tatum Innes. Face-off one by the Wildcats. It's sent around the zone. Howard leaves it there, and it's chipped softly by Bartow Kelly. Doesn't get out of the zone, and now it finally does as Martin works in. Looking for a man to pass to in front, but he fires one just wide. Howard on that one, and now it's back to the point. Down to Howard. Howard chips one to Martin. Martin sends a shot through, and it's gloved by Sean Gillis once again. Little and Howard on the draw. Little wins this one back. Now Whitmore tries to go up the wall. It's into the skates. Now Gallant down there. It's worked over by Anderson up to Little, and now Anderson gets the puck back. They'll work in as he runs over his man. But now it's back out to center. We'll get an offside on the call. So face off right outside the Wildcats line on the near side wall. Ferguson wins it to the half wall. Robichaud gets bumped off that one. Now Ferguson walks in, tries to make a move. He gets the loose puck back in the corner. Working down there with Grace. Robichaud picks it up, sends it to the slot. It's Picked up by McIntosh. His pass is worked to the boards. Sent in by Greeno. Worked back in, and the pass from Grace will get knocked down. Some good hand-eye there by Ferguson, but it's back out to neutral ice. Greeno circles back, tries to find Robichaud on the lead man pass, but McLaughlin tries to make a move. It's in his feet. He gets bumped there, offside. And now a shot from Greeno as he comes in. Fans not too pleased about that one. So with 6:38 to go, shots all even at 29. The Wildcats trail 3 down in this one. 5-2 the score. Cormier picks it up, goes cross ice to Matatol as Matatol looks for a headman pass, but can't find a stick. And we'll go back down 200 feet to the Bombers' end. Frazier and Martin on the draw. Shot comes in from Caleb Howard. That one just goes over the net. Now Fowler. He almost bobbled that one. Almost a dangerous chance in front for the Bombers. Now it's back down deep. Picked up by Fowler. Tried to headman Howard up the wall, but it's picked up by Cormier once again. He'll go for a skate. It's into the feet there. Picked up by Connor Keating. Worked around the wall. And now Keating sends Frazier to the ice. Kept on side. Now McLaughlin. Battle down there and there with Frazier. And now Bowden. Tries to go in front. Turned aside by Innes. Now a battle in the Wildcats corner. It's sent around and Howard first to it, but it's picked up at the line by Little. Off a stick from Howard, and that'll be a high stick on the call. 5:06 to go. We'll get a face-off back down in the Wildcats end. To the left of Tatum Innes. Now it's up the wall, sent back in, and Diebel picks it up there for the Wildcats, makes a move, sends it off the wall. Grace back there for the Bombers, picks it up, sends it to center, and Little picks it up. Little's got 2 already in this one, 1 away from a hat trick. Ferguson sends it up the wall, it's into the feet, and Elijah Little able to pick it back up. Little gets the return feed, and it's back up the wall. Now Gallant to neutral ice is turned aside, and now Bombers the other way. Grace's pass was picked off, and now it's back down in the corner. Anderson, chance in front, shot off the bar and up into the netting. Anderson almost had his second of the game, but he rings it off the post. And up into the netting. We'll get a face-off back down once more to the left of Innes. McDonald and Martin on the draw. Martin telling the Wildcats what to do, and they execute that draw. But Lonergan met there at the line, and Whitmore sends one off the glass into the stands. And we're going to face off right back down here in the Bombers' end. Wildcats with the net empty. 3:52 to go. It's back to the point. And now McIntosh has a yawning cage, and he'll ice it. McIntosh rips the long bomb into the open net. And we've got a 6-2 lead here for the WearWell Bombers. Puck at the line. Picked up by Bartow Kelly. He sends one in front. Goes right through the slot. Now McLaughlin sends a backhander in front. Loose puck. Picked up by Frazier. Tried to work in. That chance negated by McLaughlin, and it's sent in. Picked up by Ross. Ross goes up the wall. And Bowden gets it to the red line. But the Wildcats sent it back the other way. Ross stops up. Ross back in front. This one to neutralize. Picked up by McGuire. Drives in, tries to send one in front. Doesn't get to the front of the net. Now Reed behind the net. Makes a move there on Robichaud. And now he finally gets sent into the wall, and a chance down there for Bowden. Bowden just goes wide of the net. Ferguson comes in to help, and now a penalty coming. Nobody making their way to the bench yet for the Wildcats. But it will be McLaughlin finally making his way to the box. 2:23 left on the clock here in the third period. The WearWell Bombers just extending their lead to 4 after an empty net goal from McIntosh. Now they're back on the power play. Puck comes out of the zone. They'll have to regroup here. Now Ross and Cormier, the defenseman out here on the man advantage for the Bombers. Cormier will work it up the ice and try and set up here for the Bombers. Cormier tries to hit Ross back at the point, but Howard sends this one the length. And it's picked right back up by Anderson. Anderson works his way down the ice, tries to make a move on Fowler. He gets past him, and he's first on into the corner. Now back to the point to Cormier. To Ross. Ross works in. His shot turned aside by Ennis. Rebound in front. Work to the wall by Cormier. And now McGuire has a chance to it, but the Bombers first to it. And now Grace stops up. That's cross ice, but it's finally out of the zone for the Wildcats and back down to the Bombers' end. Grace will recollect it one more time. Now a long pass up to McDonald. McDonald looks for Whitmore. Now Whitmore to Bowden. Bowden's shot turned aside. Now it's back to the point to Grace with 40 to go. 15 left on the power play. Grace back down to McDonald, excuse me. His shot goes wide. Now Grace works in. Goes out front. Innes turns this one aside. Now Ferguson just out of the box, but a flip pass from McGuire out of his reach, and this will go down the ice for an icing with 11 on the clock. So the WearWell Bombers will add some cushion in the standings. A 4-point lead now on the Valley Wildcats in the Nova Scotia U15 Major Hockey League. As we've got 5 to go, shot goes wide into the corner. And that'll do it. Here from the Apple Dome, the WearWell Bombers take down the Valley Wildcats. Final score of 6-2. Wildcats back in action tomorrow as they take on the Harbor Rage. I'll have the call on that one right here on High Button Sports. And then the U18 Valley Wildcats right after. So a Wildcats doubleheader. I'll have the call for both of them right here from the Apple Dome on High Button Sports. My name's Dayton Camo. Thanks for tuning into this one. We'll see you tomorrow.